Hey guys, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor video. So this time I'm going to be talking about ability pruning, and well, there is just a giant list of data here, so I'm not going to rattle it all off myself, because honestly, that would take half an hour, and I think my voice would probably just break. So you'll probably just see it all kind of rolling by on the screen, and you can use the annotated buttons to jump to the bits of, just the bits of the announcement that are actually relevant to you. So this comes as just a wider kind of wave of things, of news that has came in with the Warlords of Draenor Alpha, and basically the first patch, which is coming out. They released patch notes. I'm not too sure when the alpha itself begins, or when people will actually get into it, but I'm definitely extremely excited for the whole thing. So what is my opinion on ability pruning? Well, my opinion is that it's something that's actually necessary for a lot of classes. And, well, essentially, as we've went on with time, they've added a whole bunch of new abilities to many classes, and some of those abilities have actually made other abilities sort of semi-redundant. Some of them have superseded other abilities, and really, it's just got a little bit messy. And it's got to the stage where, just as an example, in a warrior, I actually need more than 30 buttons to be able to play my warrior well. In terms of game design, and I do like having quite a few buttons. I'd say 15's a nice number, but 30's a little bit crazy in that respect, honestly. So I think this is definitely going to help the game a lot in terms of how playable it is, and really just how much fun it is, because I think that they can just hopefully really make the abilities that are left for each spec really interesting. They can make every spec extremely different, and then also just be take it in mind that this is in combination with the level 100 talents, and then we're actually going to get 9 perks from level 90 to 99, and these perks will just give us interesting little augmentations to our current abilities. So overall, there's quite a lot going on there in terms of new things that are being added, and it's the kind of new stuff that changes how we play without really adding a great deal of new abilities or things like that. So I think it could be a very compelling way of doing things, actually. One thing that you will notice is that they have definitely removed quite a few things that you just kind of turned on and forgot about. I think that's absolutely a good idea, really, and just overall, it's a good move. The game was definitely very daunting, and hell, even rolling up a new class and being able to play it well is getting harder and harder and harder, so I think this is also a good move for combating that. Now, I'm just going to talk about one or two of the classes that I play. First of all, Hunter. Well, I think Hunter's actually, I think it's technically had the largest amount of things removed. Most of them do seem to make sense. I'm a little bit sad about Rapid Fire, actually, though, because I think Rapid Fire was quite nice for gameplay. They're doing a lot of things, and this is just one example, but it's going to carry over to a lot of classes. The lock and load proc is being removed and just rolled into Black Arrow. Well, you're going to see that a lot, actually. Some effects are just going to be put in baseline to some abilities, and we had things like Rabid, which really wasn't a very interesting ability because it's just something you hit every 1.5 minutes without fail. Well, that's just now not a thing anymore, because it wasn't adding much to the gameplay experience. It wasn't really adding much fun or much of a decision. So, yeah, overall from the Hunter's perspective, I think I'm pretty happy with it, though of course we do need to wait and see. And it is also just absolutely worth noting that we don't know what the classes are going to be like at the end of the expansion. We really don't. You know, that's just the way it is with Warlords, and just with expansions and betas and alphas in general. You don't know until maybe a month before the expansion comes out what things are actually going to ship like. So a lot of this stuff could change, of course, but overall I think it's heading in a pretty decent direction. And the one thing I think that's very important for people to understand is that you really can't jump to conclusions. This is going to be rigorously alpha tested by many, 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 many people, and the same with the beta and all that stuff. Any glaring flaws or anything that could be potentially class-breaking, well, that's just not going to be an issue anymore, honestly. Because that stuff will be caught, you know? And people will realize any problems, and then they'll get patched up. That's how it always goes. And also, it's just worth, you really do need to also just be sure that you realize that these changes are not really in regards to the current state of the game. Everything will be different. These changes will be happening as a part of, well, a wider series of changes, and therefore it should all come together to be a balanced whole. Now, as for what Blizzard have said themselves about this, well, basically they said that what abilities and spells got cut is very, very difficult. It's just a very difficult thing for them to find out and answer. They said that every ability is vital to somebody, so they really don't take the process lightly, and essentially they said, and I quote, "We hope that even if we did cut your favourite ability, you can see it in the context of our larger goals. It's important to remember the point of these changes is to increase players' ability to understand the game, not to reduce the depth of gameplay." I think that could definitely happen, and yeah, we just need to see how it pans out. I think some people are probably going to be worried about skill caps and things like that, and I guess technically they could be lowered a little bit, but I'd argue that it's kind of removing shit that wasn't fun, honestly, and I think that might be okay. If you just take some of the changes they're making, for an example, with healing, where they're just making it a little bit more decisive and tactical, I think that's absolutely a very skill-based decision that they're making there, as opposed to the kind of reaction time spam that we have at the minute. But yeah, overall, hey, let me know what your thoughts are about them removing stats like that, or not stats, removing abilities. And yeah, we're going to continue the Warlords of Draenor not functionality, WoW coverage. Unfortunately, this news hit at about 1:30 AM for me, so it's definitely it's a late night rush. But it's certainly one that I'm up for, and one that should be a ton of fun to cover. Yeah, I actually imagine there being quite a lot of videos coming up on the channel lately, so do be sure to hit that subscribe button, because, well, shit's hitting the fan, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, thanks for watching, hope you found this video just to be a useful reference, and I will see you next time.